It was 3 loud bangs, and it was just really, really quick, all in a row. It was close to 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was pretty frightening to wake up to.
Residents rattled after 2 teens were shot in the Flemingdon Park neighborhood. Tonight, police hunt for suspects in the city's latest incident of gun violence. Good evening. The shots rang out early this morning along a residential street near Don Mills and Eglinton.
The 2 teens are in hospital in serious condition but are expected to survive. CTV's Mike Walker is live at the scene tonight with the latest. Mike.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, the teens were shot outside an apartment building right here. Now, police are still investigating the circumstances that led to this double shooting and tell us they are still searching for multiple suspects. Forensic investigators search for evidence outside a Flemingdon Park apartment building where 2 teens were shot. Bullets flew right outside this woman's apartment.
And I heard 3 loud noises, which I assumed were like early Canada Day celebrations. Not long after, I just saw flashing lights. It's kind of sad that it was people like that young.
The double shooting happened just after 2 this morning on Deauville Lane near Don Mills and Eglinton. When officers arrived on scene, they found a 17-year-old boy and an 18-year-old man with gunshot wounds. Both were rushed to hospital in serious condition, but are expected to survive.
Nobody wants to, get up in the morning and hear their children are shot or hurt this way, It shouldn't happen ever.
The violent sound of gunshots startling some residents out of bed.
It was 3 loud bangs, and it was just really, really quick, all in a row, and it was pretty frightening to wake up to.
Police say the suspects took off in a dark-colored vehicle and remain at large.
Seeing these types of activities, it does concern me greatly. I don't want to be caught in crossfire. I don't want to be, hurt, and seeing this type of behavior is not acceptable.
The circumstances that led to the shooting are not clear. This latest act of gun violence has left the community reeling.
It's awful, of course. There's a lot of children. There's even a school over there. And of course, nobody wants to live in fear like this.
So sad what's happening out there right now. I mean, this isn't the first time, and yeah, it makes me feel a little bit unsafe and really sad for the family and the victims.
Police have canvassed the area for witnesses and surveillance video. The Guns and Gangs unit is now investigating. At this point, police haven't revealed how many suspects they're looking for. They also haven't provided any descriptions of the suspects. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. It was a messy morning commute on the 401 in Scarborough after an overnight crash. This happened around 1 a.m. in the westbound collectors lanes near Nielsen Road. Police say a tow truck hauling a tractor trailer crashed into a concrete wall. The tractor trailer then flipped and a fire started. The driver was sent to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Officers also laid a charge of careless driving. After the cleanup and initial investigation, traffic got moving again through the area by late morning. And this was the scene early this afternoon as crews put out a house fire in East Gwillimbury. Flames could be seen through the damaged roof as smoke spread throughout the neighborhood on Colonel Whaling Boulevard near Leslie. Police say the home was severely damaged, but nobody was hurt, and they aren't treating this fire as suspicious.
Also tonight, a call to keep your guard up while getting down. A warning from Toronto Police about thieves targeting your cell phone during summer festivals and parades.
But first, Pride is this weekend, and preparations are shifting into high gear.
As planning continues, Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew today renewed a pledge to rebuild trust with the queer community. CTV's Allison Hurst reports.
Just want to say hello and welcome, guys.
Newly minted Toronto police inspectors tour the village.
There is a need to continue to rebuild trust.
Stopping at memorials to talk about the controversial policing history in the Church Wellesley neighborhood.
It's an opportunity to bring our newest crop of operational leaders into the community to really learn about that history so that their decision making and their thinking can be informed by that history and provide a different perspective for them to consider.
September 14th will mark 25 years since the Pussy Palace raids. Chief Myron Demkew was one of the officers there, identifying himself that night as a member of the morality squad.
I've come into the community on many occasions and sought out opportunities to listen and understand and to ensure that I address myself personally the concerns of the community. And while we are seeing progress and we've invested resources and time and build relationships, we are far from finished.
The sentiment that more still needs to be done is shared by many in Toronto's LGBTQ2S+ community.
There's a lot of healing that still has to occur. There's a lot of apology. And I'm sure that that's in the works and it's coming, but their presence here and their response to our needs increasingly better is a step forward.
Ala Al-Safi, who works at The Well, says the Toronto police need to be more proactive and look to the future because they can't fix the past.
Once you lose trust, it's incredibly difficult. The vase is broken. Even if you put it back together, it's still going to be a chipped vase.
Pride celebrations will be taking place all weekend, with the city's parade scheduled for Sunday.
The safety and well-being of everyone attending is obviously our top priority.
Police say they're working closely with the Pride Toronto organizers. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
And as we head into a busy weekend of summer festivals and parades, including Pride, you may want to keep your guard up.
There is a warning from police tonight about an uptick in pickpockets looking to snatch phones, and they're targeting people in crowds. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Within a year, I had like 3 phones stolen from me.
An unlucky year for Anif Williams, whose cell phones and him are quickly parted.
It's ridiculous, man. It's not cool.
His phones were mostly taken when he was distracted on the subway, but police are pointing to the upcoming Pride Festival this weekend as a place where the exciting things to see turn into an opportunity for thieves.
We saw a significant uptick, particularly last year in Pride. Up over 300 cell phones were stolen.
Pickpocketed from people who were distracted or trusting, like Mihail Adler's family. They put a phone down for a moment at Mel Lastman Square recently.
It's a big phone, and literally moments later it was gone.
His screenshots show the phone taking a trip first to 2 addresses in North York and then an address he didn't expect.
Then about 4 days ago, it pinged that it was in Vietnam.
Among many phones traded internationally, one way to escape the remote resets customers can put on them.
So a lot of phones that would not function here in North America will function just fine on a different continent.
Security expert Claudio Popa says thieves try to take a phone while it's unlocked to sell it for more. But if not,
cell phones can also be taken apart to their core components, and they are worth a lot of money because screens, batteries, cameras, and chips have a ton of value.
And then there's what's on your phone. A Fox station in Minneapolis showed how thieves used bank apps on stolen phones to drain hundreds of thousands of dollars. Similar organizations expected to be operating here.
I will be surprised if they don't. What we're asking people is even to keep things tight, close to their body, in bags in front of them, in pockets. Just be aware and be mindful.
Advice Williams is now following.
I'm more responsible.
He hopes people this weekend will do the same. John Woodward, CTV News.
And time now for a check on the forecast. There's a live shot of the city. A little cooler tonight, which is good if you have any outdoor activities planned. However, there's a chance of showers, but the summer heat does return tomorrow and even more so over the next few days. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Lindsay.
Nathan, we did get some much needed rain today. It had been over a week since we had had measurable rain at Pearson Airport. A current look at the satellite and radar shows some of that rainfall now tapering off. We will hold on to the chance of a few showers. A little bit of thunderstorm activity across southwestern Ontario, that part of the province, and then east of Georgian Bay under special weather statements warning of some heavy rain over the next day or so here. We have an east wind right now. It's not overly strong, but it is contributing to it feeling a little cool in parts of the GTA. Look at 17 degrees in Toronto compared to 27 this hour in Windsor, feeling into the 30s. Overnight tonight, we drop to a seasonal low of 16 degrees, but you're right, the heat returns starting tomorrow. We'll take you through the forecast coming up. Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, drivers will not be taking King Street to cut through the core this summer, despite a proposal before council today.
Instead, officials decided the answer lies along Adelaide. CTV's Natalie Johnson explains.
A pitch to fully reopen King Street to cars this summer has been largely quashed by City Council.
We saw a motion from the mayor effectively kill the success of Councillor Bradford's suggestion to open up King Street.
These streets are already under pressure.
Councillor Brad Bradford, who was expected to challenge Olivia Chow for the mayor's chair next year, had suggested allowing vehicular through traffic on King between Church and Spadina, while construction work at Church Street renders the route impassable for streetcars.
We need to work together to fix the city that is broken. And if it's a small change, like some bags over a sign, unlocking additional capacity that is sitting there dormant, like that's not rocket science, that's common sense.
But city staff said the timeline would be unrealistic.
Could you not work through the night and get it done? It's timing of lights.
2.5 weeks to cover up the existing signage and reprogram the lights for changes that would only be in effect until mid-August.
I think it was a great idea. I wish to heck that we'd done that in February, because we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
By the time that city staff actually makes the infrastructure change, then King Street is open again.
The mayor instead passing a plan to move loading zones off Adelaide to open up that artery, add more paid duty officers to manage congestion, and allow through traffic on King just at Yonge Street.
We really wanted to make sure that the transit priority on King Street was retained, because there are 600 buses a day that are using King Street, and which is about 25,000 passengers a day, which is not as much as there is when the streetcar is on, but it's still a significant amount of transit riders.
The mayor's critics alleging this was all about politics and not policy.
I don't really care where the good ideas come from.
Instead of lamenting about weeks of work to get it done, let's work through the night with wartime effort instead of war on the car.
Cars that, for the most part, will still have to steer clear of King Street. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Still ahead, reasserting a presence near the Ring of Fire. Efforts to set up a First Nations encampment to push back against the province's mining plans. You'll hear from those involved and what the Premier had to say about it today. Now to the latest on a story we brought you earlier this month. Concerns are mounting over the cancellation of enrollment for grade 9 students at Hayden Park Secondary School.
The school provides special education support, and today an NDP MPP weighed in on the issue. CTV's Beth McDonnell has the details.
For some families, Hayden Park Secondary School has been life-changing.
It's amazing. She has opened up and completely blossomed into a beautiful young woman, and I'm very, very proud of her. Hey, sweetie.
Phoenix dealt with terrible bullying before attending 2 years ago and is gutted the TDSB canceled the incoming grade 9 fall enrollment. It's the TDSB's only small student-centered high school for young women, transgender, and non-binary students.
It's really not fair that students are not going to be able to come to Hayden Park next year.
He can solve this tomorrow if he wants. Tuesday, NDP MPP Jessica Bell joined families in calling for a stop to cuts to the most vulnerable students. The TDSB has told CTV News Hayden Park was not part of the recent budget deficit challenges, but only 9 new grade 9 students applied. It also said other schools are getting better at supporting students with wider needs, and no long-term plan has been made for the school.
The TDSB often says things like that. We know that the demand for schools like Hayden Park is very high. There are many parents who would like to send their children here. But if you completely cut off enrollment, that sends a message that Hayden Park has no future.
The group says they're also dealing with the loss of teachers and growing class sizes at Beverly and Lucy McCormick schools, which instruct students with disabilities.
More than 6 kids in a class is dangerous in a number of ways. Number one, if there is an emergency, to get these kids out of the class and out of the building safely.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the education minister says this year, Ontario is providing a record $30.3 billion in core education funding to school boards, including record levels for special education. Since 2018, we've increased special education funding by over 31%, and we have added 10,000 additional education staff, including more than 4,000 more education assistants to support special education needs in Ontario classrooms. Kenya says she's one of the 9 students who was enrolled to start at Hayden Park in September. She'll now attend her home school instead, which is a lot bigger.
Crowds make me very, very anxious, very, very shy, very socially awkward.
Hopes have been shattered of getting support, of having supportive people and even like-minded friends and new friends. So it's been very frustrating.
Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
York Regional Police are investigating an alleged violent threat made in connection with a girls' soccer game. This follows a match between Kleinburg Nobleton Soccer Club and Glen Shield Juventus FC last Friday in Vaughan. Kleinburg says a parent of a player on the opposing team threatened to stab one of their own players, a 12-year-old girl. Juventus says it categorically rejects that version of events. The York Region Soccer Association says it's planning its own probe into what happened. And our online team has some additional details on this story, including what police have said about their investigation. You can find their coverage at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
Staying in York Region, police have released photos of a suspect wanted in an alleged hate-motivated assault on a bus driver. On the evening of Saturday, May 31st, investigators say this man was riding a public transit bus near Bathurst Street and King Road. He is accused of making an anti-black comment to the driver and assaulting them by spitting in their face. The suspect is described as around 5'10" with a thin build and a full beard. Anyone with information is asked to contact the York Police Hate Crime Prevention Unit.
And in Georgina, police laid a sexual assault charge against a caregiver at a long-term care home. 1 week ago, police were called to the facility for reports of an incident involving a female resident. They say 57-year-old Jefferson Day was identified as the suspect. They also say he may be associated with church communities in the area and may have presented himself as a pastor. Police are concerned there may be more victims.
Elsewhere, a Mississauga man is facing charges after an alleged incident involving a young girl. Peel police say 70-year-old Donald Levesque sexually assaulted and took intimate images of a girl under the age of 12 on Saturday near Bromsgrove Road and Southdown Road. Investigators say Levesque also has ties to Toronto, Hamilton, and St. Catharines. They're asking anyone with information to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Billionaire businessman Frank Stronach has pleaded not guilty to 12 charges he's facing in a sexual assault trial here in Toronto. The 92-year-old faces a combined 18 charges involving 13 complainants, with some allegations dating back decades. Some of those charges are expected to be heard in a separate trial in Newmarket next year. As for the Toronto trial, Stronach's defense lawyer says he's opted to have his case heard by a judge alone, and that switch was made with the Crown's consent. Stronach has denied all allegations against him.
The stage is set for a battle over the Ford government's plan to mine the so-called Ring of Fire in northern Ontario.
First Nations residents are on their way to set up an encampment west of James Bay. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has this story and joins us with more. Siobhan.
Well, we know that First Nations had threatened to block highways, rail lines, roads in resistance to Bill 5, and we're starting to see the beginning of that movement now.
Good morning.
This is not your average summer family boat trip. Geronimo Cataquapit, his parents, and older brother are on a mission, headed towards the site of a proposed bridge near Attawapiskat. It's a 400-kilometer-long journey.
We only travel 24-ish kilometers. And we need to make up for that.
The goal, he says, is to reassert First Nations presence near the mineral-rich Ring of Fire. It's after provincial and federal governments passed legislation this spring aimed at speeding up development of big economic projects, including mines.
Almost essentially out of the blue. And so I thought, like, I took maybe an hour to process it. Then I said, okay, we got to go do something.
The goal is to set up a semi-permanent encampment at the river's edge.
We're supporting each other, all four of us, and especially we're supporting our son, Geronimo.
The family will be meeting with a contingent from the Nishtanaga First Nation and bringing messages of support from other First Nations.
All here where these two rivers meet, we hang up their flags to show that the families use this territory.
Asked about the planned encampment, the Premier says he looks forward to building a road to the Ring of Fire with collaboration from First Nations.
We've been consulting with Webequie and Martin Falls for a few years now. So we have been discussing this and they've signed agreements moving forward.
Touting the economic possibilities of new mines.
I want them to have their kids and grandchildren to have a better life. I want them to have equity partnership.
After apologizing for saying First Nations come to the government hat in hand, Doug Ford's working out plans to visit Indigenous communities this summer.
Nothing's better than sitting down, maybe fishing and breaking bread, and seeing exactly how I can support them, how the province can support them until their communities thrive and prosper and grow.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is planning similar outreach this summer. The Cataquapic family hopes to hit their final destination on Saturday. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. And in Ottawa, the Senate has passed the Liberals' major projects legislation. Bill C-5 gives the government the power to fast-track projects deemed to boost the national economy by sidestepping environmental protections and other legislation. It was approved in the upper chamber today without amendments, but a handful of senators tried to persuade their colleagues to include language about respecting Indigenous rights. Several Indigenous leaders wanted the bill's passage slowed to give their communities more time to suggest changes and review the legislation with lawyers. The law will come into effect when it is signed by the Governor General.
Many Palestinians in Gaza are still desperately trying to escape the conflict, including students with full scholarships to Canadian universities. But visa delays are preventing them from studying here. CTV's Heather Wright explains.
Twisted metal and debris. This is what it looks like in Gaza City after an Israeli airstrike this morning. It's near where 19-year-old Tawfiq Abed lives in a small room with nearly a dozen other people.
I'm displaced. My house is in dangerous area.
Abed dreams of being an engineer and has been offered a full scholarship to the University of Alberta. Trouble is, he's applied for a student visa but has received no response from the Canadian government.
I'm sorry to lose such an opportunity. Especially that is Canada. That's my dream. That's what I'm looking for is coming through.
Abed is not the only one. According to a group of Canadian professors, there are roughly 70 Palestinian students stuck waiting. They are urging the government to move more quickly to help these students come here to study.
Germany's able to do it. France has been able to do it. They provided safe passage for students. They've expedited visas. It is punitive, and there's no reason why we can't do the same in Canada.
Part of the challenge for the students still in Gaza is providing biometrics, such as fingerprints and a photo. But others say they submitted their completed applications over a year ago and have heard nothing.
We're not asking for them to skip the line. We're not asking for shortcuts. We're just asking for these students to be treated fairly so that they can come to Canada and study here in the great research programs that we have here.
CTV News has reached out to the Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship multiple times. They have not yet responded to our questions about why it is taking so long to process these applications. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
No one from India, Poland and Hungary has ever visited the International Space Station until now. The astronauts from those three countries arrived at the orbiting lab today aboard a private flight. The crew will spend 2 weeks in space performing dozens of experiments. It's the first time in 40 years astronauts from those nations have gone into orbit. The journey was arranged by Axiom. The Houston company is one of several developing their own space stations.
Coming up, greeted like a rock star, Cardinal Frank Leo honors Italian-Canadian immigrants with a special blessing for a new tribute to Toronto's rich heritage. We'll take you there.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, the OPP is warning everyone to be careful not to get caught in paving and roofing scams. Contractors are going door to door across the province, and some are doing shoddy work and disappearing without finishing the job. That story is just ahead.
Well, for some students, it was today. For others, tomorrow is the last day of school, and you can dress for some summertime heat, but also the risk of thunderstorms. Happy Pride Weekend, Toronto. We are going to see improving conditions as the weekend goes on. Sunday looks sunny for the big parade. We're going to take you through a full look at the 7-day forecast, including those early days of July coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The OPP has issued a warning following an increase in driveway paving and roofing scams happening across the province.
Some contractors are going door to door using fake names, demanding cash, and then leaving poor quality work behind. Pat Foran has our consumer alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. We did a story last week on pavers going door to door in the GTA, promising great deals, but doing shoddy work and leaving messes behind. Now the OPP says it's happening across the province with scams involving paving, roofing, and home renovations.
Paulette Blenman of Ajax is unhappy with her recently paved driveway. It's lumpy and uneven. The pavers who were going door to door charged her $6,000 and left a huge pile of debris behind.
All the information is not correct. They don't answer their phone. There's no way you can leave a message. You can't send an email. You just can't contact them.
Did these guys just come and knock on your door?
They just knock on the door.
Someone also knocked on Luigi Raffaele's door in East York. A contractor said he would do a ceiling job and other work, but once he was paid $3,900, he never came back.
I feel cheated. I feel that's not nice.
The OPP issued a warning saying contractors are going door to door across the province, pressuring homeowners into paving driveways, repairing roofs, and other home renovations.
They may seem very professional. They'll have their flyers, their websites, but often they'll be using fake names, false IDs.
Someone also knocked on James Blewett's door in Guelph and offered to pave his driveway. They also left behind a massive pile of old asphalt and no contact information.
It's cheap looking, and I'm not happy with it.
Jennifer Mason, also of Guelph, paid pavers in cash and was left with an unfinished driveway and a giant pile of debris.
Sounded too good to be true, but I didn't listen to my gut instinct.
They'll ask for cash up front, and in the end, they'll leave behind some poor quality work, and then you'll never see them again.
To avoid driveway, roofing, and renovation scams, beware of unsolicited door-to-door sales. Don't be pressured into having work done. Research companies carefully, get multiple quotes, and don't pay in advance. Police say if you're not careful, you could be the one picking up the pieces of a botched paving job.
And if you agree to have your driveway paved or your roof repaired and the contractor does a poor job, it doesn't mean the police will get involved and lay charges. Once you hire someone, it becomes a civil matter and you would have to take them to courts. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, if you've had it with the heat, this was a day for you. Definitely more comfortable out there. Some people maybe, it's been so steamy for so many days. Maybe they're finding it a little bit cool, but I don't mind a little break.
No, yeah, it was nice to have, I guess, a little time to recover, but I am looking forward to the heat returning. Hopefully not as hot as it was before, but still hot enough.
Well, I've got good news for you, Nathan. The heat is returning, but yes, it's not going to be quite as oppressive as it was earlier this week. So we can all take a little comfort in knowing that. We had some wet weather earlier today as well. Let me show you what it looks like outside. At this hour, it's the rain no longer falling. It is still quite cloudy around the GTA, and we're going to hang on to the chance of a shower through this evening. But overall, conditions are drier. And then tomorrow's active weather, a little bit of a different setup. So we'll take you through what you need to know for your Friday and beyond. Let's first talk about the special weather statements that have been issued by Environment Canada. Look at that, 30 to 50 millimeters of rain possible in some areas east of Georgian Bay through tomorrow. Pockets of southwestern Ontario, too. See that? Another heat warning for the Windsor area. It's hot there even at this hour. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. There's the cloud cover that I mentioned. Showers are tapering off. We do expect that it's going to be a mostly dry evening, but look what's waiting in the wings. We've got another low pressure system that's going to swing its way across Ontario. The front associated with it is going to likely bring some thunderstorms to parts of the province too. This just gives us a little snapshot idea of how much rain we're looking at. Again, the heaviest amounts of rain look to be east of Georgian Bay. Let's talk timing into tomorrow. A chance of maybe a couple of showers in the morning hours, maybe a thunder shower early afternoon. The time frame I'm a little more concerned about, if you will, is as we make our way into the evening, and it's mid to late evening how it's looking at this point. So there's about 8 p.m. There's 10 p.m. around the GTA. If you do have outdoor plans for your Friday night, I hope that you have a backup indoor option in case the weather turns. Saturday, at this point, it's looking like a dry but cloudy day. Gradually, that cloud cover is going to lift. We will enjoy a mostly sunny Saturday evening, and then loads of sunshine is in store for the day on Sunday. We're also heating up just in time for the second half of the weekend. 27 degrees right now in Windsor, feeling like 36. It is 17 degrees in Toronto, feeling like 20. So what a difference compared to the last several days. Overnight tonight, our low is about 16 degrees. That's also our seasonal norm. So finally, more comfortable conditions for sleeping. Tomorrow's forecast daytime highs around the province, generally speaking, mid-20s, upper 20s in some areas. Feeling into the 30s again. It's going to feel like 33 at the height of the day here in the GTA. Here's your tomorrow at a glance forecast again. It's mainly the evening hours that I'm concerned about. Potentially strong thunderstorms moving through. And then Saturday is a drier day, 28 degrees for Sunday with mostly sunny skies. Monday looks to be unsettled and hot, 30 for the high. I think any showers that we get into Tuesday should be finished by the time we set off those Canada Day fireworks, and then pleasant and summertime heat through the middle part of next week for those early first days of July. That's the weather for now. Michelle, over to you.
Ooh, hello, July. Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, as the number of measles cases drops in southwestern Ontario, there is a warning from Toronto Public Health about the increased risk for students during the summer.
Good news, as the number of new measles cases in southwestern Ontario appears to have dropped.
But as our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, health officials are keeping a wary eye as summer vacations and travel begin.
The Southwestern Public Health Unit reports just 5 new cases of measles in the past week, bringing its total in this outbreak to 756. But the graph of recent cases shows how dramatic a drop it's been since the height of its outbreak in May. Southwestern Health says, at this time we are cautiously encouraged by the recent decline in reported measles cases over the past weeks. While it's still early to confirm a persistent pattern, the consistency of the decrease does suggest a potential shift in the trajectory of the outbreak, and it may indicate that our public health interventions, including vaccination efforts, community outreach, and case management, are having a meaningful impact. We remain vigilant and continue to monitor the situation. And as students embark on their summer vacations, Toronto Public Health says vaccinations for school-aged kids are still available online, although appointments fill up quickly. As of early Thursday afternoon, appointments up to July 22nd were full.
We will continue to post vaccine appointments all through the summer, including hopefully a number of clinics in August as well.
Toronto has seen 8 measles cases in 2025, the most recent last week. And while the drop in cases in southwestern Ontario is positive, Dr. Vanita Dubé reminds us measles will still be a presence in the summertime.
So even if you're not planning to get on a plane and go somewhere, even if you're staying within the city, we've known that people come to our city and maybe go to a concert or go to an event where they actually have brought measles.
Last September, only 25% of Toronto's grade 11 students were fully vaccinated. But after suspensions were started in spring under the Immunization of School Pupils Act, the number rose to 87%.
We know that about 3,500 students had 1 or more days of suspension, but that was less than 15% of the total cohort.
Toronto Public Health says the suspension program will continue in the fall, and it is now considering which grade will be the focus next September. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A new survey reveals more older Canadians are having a hard time finding a family doctor compared to other countries.
Finding same-day or next-day appointments is also a growing challenge. CTV's Scott Hurst has the story.
Canada's healthcare system is under significant strain, in part due to an aging population, and getting access to primary care is increasingly more difficult.
I'm like a lot of people that my family has a history of cancer in my situation, but there are people that I know that have family histories of other conditions you should be concerned about, and you don't have a chance to get a checkup.
Canada is falling behind some international partners. About 8% of Canadians 65 and up don't have access to a primary care provider. That's about 600,000 people, meaning more seniors are going without care compared to those in the U.S., UK, France, and Germany, to name a few. The report published by the Canadian Institute for Health Information also notes older Canadians are struggling to access mental health care when they need it.
Mental health care is really important for older adults. We found in our survey in 2024 that 1 in 4 older adults reported feeling isolated at least some of the time.
The report also shows timely access to primary care has been getting worse. Only about a quarter of seniors who have access to care can even get an appointment the same day or next. That number was much higher than in a previous survey less than a decade ago. Now, improving access is not an easy fix. Canada's population is rapidly aging and people are living longer. According to Stats Canada, seniors made up less than 1/5 of the population in 2023. By 2030, that number will swell to nearly a quarter. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
A touching tribute to Italian immigrants who came to Canada getting special recognition today.
The Archbishop of Toronto blessed the commemorative installation, part of a celebration of Italian Heritage Month. CTV's Janice Golding was there.
Buongiorno, how are you? Come state?
Cardinal Frank Leo was greeted with joy outside the Villa Colombo today.
The Cardinal is a rock star, really. He's a fantastic speaker, very supportive of our organization as well.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless this plaque and this wall.
The Archbishop of Toronto on hand to publicly bless the Villa Charity's Italian-Canadian immigrant tribute installation.
We share so much in common in our values and our history and our language that I'm really overjoyed to be part of this.
The installation includes a wall of names designed to pay tribute to Italian immigrants and their family members.
It was after the war and things were really tough, so they came and made a new life.
And maybe grandkids that they're going to see in the future our name and remember us when we're not around anymore.
A lot of sacrifice. My dad came in 1951, basically with nothing. And then after my mom and I came in 1952. And again, she was working in a factory for 10 cents an hour.
The lives, the hopes and the dreams, the fears of new beginnings.
The highly anticipated public blessing also commemorated Italian Heritage Month and was designed to celebrate the history of Italian Canadians who have played an instrumental role in our city and country.
There are 1.6 million Italian Canadians. A lot of them came to this country with absolutely nothing. And this tribute here today represents the grit and hard work of our parents and grandparents.
This is memory of my dad who came to this country with nothing. It's really important to be here to recognize the importance that the Canadian-Italian community has made.
10 years in the making, the tribute installation includes a bronze statue called Hope, which depicts the strength and dreams of an immigrant family from the 1950s. The entire space is open to the Italian-Canadian community as a public place of reflection and commemoration. Janice Golding, CTV News.
Breaking the ice and hitting the open market. Leaf forward Mitch Marner will test free agency and explore his options, according to the team's GM. That's after the break.
Makes me feel a little bit unsafe and really sad for the family and the victims.
Updating our top stories, a 17-year-old boy and 18-year-old man are recovering in hospital after being shot outside a Flemingdon Park building. The circumstances surrounding the shooting are unclear. The suspects fled and there's been no arrests.
And while we are seeing progress and we've invested resources and time and build relationships, we're far from finished.
Toronto police say they're stepping up efforts to rebuild trust with the city's LGBTQ2S+ community. New operational leaders will learn about past controversial policing to help inform their decision-making. Police say they're working closely with Pride organizers. Events will be taking place all weekend.
What we're asking people is even to keep things tight, close to their body, in bags in front of them, in pockets. Just be aware and be mindful.
A warning about cell phone thefts occurring when owners are distracted. Police say this weekend's Pride Festival is a place where exciting things to see can turn into an opportunity for thieves. More than 300 phones were stolen last year.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca, and you can download the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos or video or breaking news, let us know.
Stats Canada says people across the country made about $1,300 a week last month on average. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez with the details and tonight's business headlines.
Wages outpaced inflation in April, moving up 4.4% year over year, while inflation rose by 1.7%. But some sectors did even better. Wages were up over 10% on average for those working in information and cultural industries. Those in real estate also had earnings grow close to 10%. Canadians with jobs in mining and oil and gas extraction saw wages go up about 5%, but they already make the most of any recorded sector. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is up, ending the day at 73.34. West Texas Intermediate is up to 65.24. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up as well to 53.24. And the TSX is up 185 points today to 26,751. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
A new report shows housing affordability declined in most major housing markets across Canada last month. According to ratehub.ca, Toronto was in the middle of the pack, with costs rising $3,400 to $1,012,000. That would mean people in this city need an annual salary of $206,000 to afford an average home. Hamilton saw the biggest improvement in affordability, with the required annual income to buy a home falling to $163,000. More than 6 years after it was first announced, construction is now underway to build the new Woodbine GO station in Etobicoke.
Today, we are marking another step forward in our plan to tackle gridlock and shorten travel times for thousands of daily commuters.
The future transit station will be located on Highway 27 between the existing Etobicoke North and Malton GO stations on the Kitchener line. It's being built in partnership with Woodbine Entertainment Group as an easier way to access their racetrack and to enable more service through the area. Woodbine GO is expected to serve approximately 7,000 daily riders by 2041.
NHL free agency begins next Tuesday, and one of the most sought-after players is expected to be Mitch Marner. Today, the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs said it appears the star forward will be on the market.
I wouldn't say a whole lot of change right now. Obviously, we're approaching free agency. We've had communication. I probably describe it unless there's, a significant change here. I would anticipate that he's going to hit the market, and we'll see where things go.
The 28-year-old from Markham is coming off a career-best 102-point season. Tree Living also says the team has had positive communication with pending unrestricted free agent John Tavares. Both sides have expressed a desire for the Veteran Centre to continue playing in Toronto.
Meanwhile, the Toronto Raptors will pick 9th tonight in round 2 of the NBA draft in New York.
With the 9th pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina.
The Raptors selecting 6'7", 245-pound forward Colin Murray Boyles, 9th overall last night. He averaged 16.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.4 assists last season as a sophomore.
The Blue Jays were going for a series win in Cleveland this afternoon.
Past a diving third baseman Schneeman and down the line.
Alejandro Kirk drove in 3 runs to make it 6-0 Toronto in the 9th, and that would be the final score. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. left the game with a forearm contusion after being hit by a pitch. The Jays are in Boston tomorrow night.
And Jays fans will appreciate this, an ode to Toronto in Lego form. The work of a local 9-year-old who's been crowned Toronto's mini master model builder, a title she will soon test on the world stage. No instructions, just pure creativity.
A young Toronto girl is building a name for herself in the world of Lego.
She's getting ready to compete on the international stage in a competition for Lego builders. CTV's Jessica Smith has the story.
It's kind of called an Easter egg in Lego language.
9-year-old Olivia Tremblay from Toronto is a mini master model builder, and she's ready to represent in a global Lego competition.
Nola announced, we're having a competition. Whoever wins gets to be my mini master model builder. And I really, and gets to compete in the global competition. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Tremblay competed against over 60 kids from the GTA to win the local title. Now her sights are set on the first ever global title.
I needed to represent Toronto, and I like baseball, so I thought of the Blue Jays.
There are 28 discovery centers around the world. There's a bunch in the States, a few more overseas, but there's about 28 mini builders now, all working on a model based on the area they live in.
Into building since she was a year old, she says the best part is seeing her visions come to life.
My favorite part of this whole process is that I get to build everything by myself. And I can also learn new techniques from Noel.
The next stage of the competition will see her Toronto-inspired display shipped to Legoland headquarters in Denmark.
Her model is going to be the first time that a kid's model has ever been at the Lego house, so that alone is a very, very cool title to have.
Keeping her cool by focusing on the fun.
Just have fun. Make sure, don't think about it's a really big competition. It's basically just a competition of play. You just gotta build, build, build.
Olivia's Toronto-themed display will be here at Legoland at Vaughan Mills until mid-July. To follow along with her journey to the global title, you can visit Legoland Discovery Center, North America on Instagram. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Who doesn't love Lego?
Oh, I hope she wins. What if she's the best Lego kid in the world?
Maybe.
We will follow up for sure. Weather-wise, okay, take us into the long weekend.
Yes, and I'm going to show you the school bus forecast for one more day. Happy last day of school to all the kids watching right across the province. It's going to be a day tomorrow that brings us summertime heat, as you can see, but also a bit of cloud cover and the risk of some thunderstorms. So here's how that looks to play out over the next 24 hours or so. And your 7-day forecast, there's a look at what for many is a long weekend. Happy Canada Day on Tuesday. Weather's looking not bad at all. Michelle and Nathan.
Not bad at all. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Alman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.